Hello, and welcome back to Mission Cognition Social Learning Channel. We are up to episode 11, which should be letter K. So there's quite a bit of time between our last episode and this episode, and a couple things really prompted me to record today's episode. And one of which was messages. So messages from you saying that you appreciate the content, you value the content, and you would like more of it. So I very much appreciate that, and I'm thrilled to hear that our dissemination efforts are being well received and that you're finding it useful and valuable. The other thing is I was struggling with coming up with what I was going to do for letter K. I only want to record content that I'm really passionate about and I believe in and I feel like is relevant. So it was important to me that I didn't just pull something randomly, but K was really tough. So this morning I was brushing my teeth and I was like, kids, I'm just going to talk about kids. So that might be a little bit different than what we have been typically doing in the past, but I do think it's a really relevant and important conversation for today. So when I'm talking about kids, that topic might feel mentalistic. It might feel like it doesn't really have anything to do with being rooted in science. And I'm okay with that because maybe I'm just really like feeling my feelings today. The world is a crazy place. There's just so much out of control, but there are little things that we can do every day to make real meaningful changes. So that's what today's episode is going to be about. It's going to be pretty quick. But again, the topic is kids and focusing on your population and remembering that they are kids first and foremost and keeping that in the forefront of your mind when you do all of your programming and you're involved in all of your interactions. So let's hop to it. Right, so the topic is kids, and the purpose of this episode today is to remind you that yes, you may call them clients, you may call them learners, you may call them students, but they are kids. So here we work with ages preschool through adults, but I'm going to focus on our preschoolers through like our teenagers, the population I refer to as kids. So when I say remember that they're kids, I mean remember that life should be fun for them. Everything they do shouldn't feel like work. It's childhood. So a lot of our kids do need intensive services. They have therapy. Some kids have 40 hours a week of therapy. That shouldn't mean that you are sitting at a table or that you are doing work for 40 hours a week. It just means that you're looking for those learning opportunities, those teaching opportunities, and as many examples of activities you do throughout the day. So your meal times, your bath times, getting dressed, all those types of routines, your playtime. How can you capitalize on those routines and work to embed as much instruction, contrive opportunities for learning and building new skills within those routines. So I want to make that clear. I also want to talk to you about when you are selecting goals. Again, remember that they're kids. So sometimes I see that if there's not a strong understanding of typical development, I see a lot of like nitpicking or putting kids under a microscope or identifying goals or targets that are just not realistic and really kind of unfair for the learner. Kids cry, kids whine, kids make a mess, kids say no, and all of that is amplified when they're tired, when they're sick, when they're hungry. I mean, we're adults, let's be real. Sometimes we cry and whine and throw tantrums too, and all of that is exacerbated by illness or fatigue or just being hungry. So again, just keep that in mind. The last point I want to make, aside from making sure that you're choosing developmentally appropriate targets, is keeping your teaching and your learning fun. I know that not every single task or skill you have to teach is going to be a party. Some of them kind of stink. They just are what they are, like getting dressed or ADL, stuff like that. But look for as many opportunities as you can to embed that positive reciprocal interaction and try to keep it engaging and try to keep it enjoyable. If you are showing up for your sessions, like dreading the session in any way, or if you find that your mind is wandering as the therapist or as the professional in session, and you're not actively engaged and you're not contacting a lot of reinforcement, think about what it feels like for that learner, for that kid. If it's not enjoyable for you, it's probably not enjoyable for them. And I'm telling you, if that's the case, a change needs to be made, and a change can be made. So look to see where your what the reinforcement looks like. Is there not enough? Is it very repetitive and rote? Are you just sitting at a table doing like drill and kill, discrete trial, naming flashcards? How can you incorporate more movement? How can you incorporate more choice? And sticking with science, or having a clinically strong program and having fun, they're not two like mutually exclusive things. You can be very, very good at what you do and be a very effective interventionist while being like fun as all heck. So try to combine that as much as you can, especially with your kids, your preschoolers. You should be like laughing, crawling on the floor, making all kinds of like weird noises. That's what kids do. So if you're not doing that and you're finding your instruction to be really rote and really boring, it probably is. It's probably perceived the same way by your learner. So look to make those changes. So to wrap it up, again, I just want to like nail the point home. Let them be kids first and foremost. Choose developmentally appropriate targets. Don't put them under a microscope and nitpick them. Remember, not everybody's a perfect little lady and gentleman. All the time. So remember that, yes, tantrums happens to the best of us. Look to see how you can help support the learner during that time to help them be a little bit more relaxed or comfortable, and overall just how you can increase engagement during your sessions and make them a little bit more fun and enjoyable for everybody. See you next time.